everyone, it's me Jenny, and this is another review for Movie Club Strikes Back, and this review is for, wow, I am out of practice, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. I think that's how you pronounce it, which I think is one of my favourite films of Movie Club recently. It's very whimsical and delightful, and just it's about trying to rediscover childish imagination, because the best way to describe this film visually is as a live action cartoon, a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous live action cartoon. The way that they do the slapstick comedy is completely out of a cartoon character's sort of imagination, but it's done with live action, it's done with real actors, and it's fabulous. And even though it took me quite a while to mentally adjust to the rhythm of this film, I really love the style. The visuals are gorgeous, the costumes are amazing. The undercurrent of trying to recapture childhood imagination just literally hit me in my heartstrings, particularly when they got to the moon, and the whole moon sequence is very reminiscent of classic film, the first starting of film, kind of the filmmaking. It reminded me a lot of, I can't remember what the name of the film is, but it ends with like the moon being crashed into. Like, it reminded me of that so much, of these really classic traditional film characteristics, and the way that people first experimented with creative filmmaking. It desperately reminded me of that. And it felt like a love letter to classic filmmaking, the stuff that you don't see anymore. It felt like all of the old tricks, except done it with a modern sort of level of technology, so it looks beautiful. And this was made in the 80s, so for me to say that as someone who's, you know, a 21st century film person, that it's reminiscent of all of these, you know, 1920s, 1930s films, and yet feels like a beautiful modern film, is just extraordinary. There are things in this that they affected my heartstrings and got me so involved in the plot. Particularly, there was things like the visual cue of when they first land on the moon, as I said, and all of the city peels back, and it's like a cardboard theatre, and I had a cardboard theatre when I was little. I loved that thing. It was Midsummer Night's Dream, and you do the little pushy thing with the little cardboard figures, and just that moment, it made me tear up watching that one moment where it's just coming in, and it's the smallest of hints as to what that could mean. But for me, it made me think of that childhood theatre, and it was just a wave of full-blown nostalgia, and it just made me happy. Similarly, there is a lot of just really beautiful things that just lost me in the moment, particularly the Venus scene, where I was so blown away by how beautifully that was directed, that dance sequence. I wasn't thinking about how they did the wire work, I wasn't thinking about the green screen effects, or how they managed to rig the wire work so that the dress didn't get impeded. I was just thinking how absolutely beautiful Uma Thurman is in that section. She is a flipping goddess. And I was blown away by that sequence. There are so many visually gorgeous scenes in this, which they inspired my childhood imagination, and that's what this film is about. It's about, everyone nowadays is about statistics and the drum and the day-to-day one. The imagination is an amazing thing. The fact that, you know, children and adults can think of the weirdest and most amazing things, and that you know, imagination can do amazing things, and that gets forgotten. It gets forgotten that we can think of things that could never exist. Never ever in a million years could, you know, a god on the moon exist where his head floats around. It's not something that is physically conceivable in terms of current logic, but it does exist because we can imagine it, and that is what the message of the film is about, and I love it. I just found it fabulous. In comparison to Ernest Scared Stupid, this is a family film. This is not a kids' film, unlike Ernest Scared Stupid, where it's aimed at kids. As an adult, it was very difficult to watch. As an adult watching this, there are so many in-jokes, there are little innuendos, and yet it's completely PG-13, it's completely child-friendly. there are scenes that are directly aimed at children, but there are things like the feet tickling, where as an adult you're like, I can't believe they're going to do this on film. This might just, you know, raise it up to a, you know, inappropriate level, and it's kept completely universal, but has all that innuendo and all of this sort of adult context that you can get as watching it as an adult, that children can watch and just enjoy it for what it is, and it's a perfect film for that sort of thing. I'm really hoping that I can persuade someone to buy this for my Christmas present, because Christmas time is the only time I can persuade my family members to watch a film that I really love if I get it for a gift. It's kind of like a, what should we watch this afternoon? Has anyone got any DVDs? Let's try this one. And usually I cannot persuade my family to sit down and watch a movie, and this film feels like a very difficult sell, particularly the first 20 minutes or so when you're trying to get into the plot, and it's very weird and it's slightly meta because you've got, you know, this theatrical sort of interpretation of a character who is also very theatrical. It's kind of, it took me about 20 minutes to mentally adjust to this film, but once you get to that point it's just fabulous, and I think my family can enjoy this, and I hope that many people enjoy this as much as I have. The acting is pretty good. The only actress I recognised was Uma Thurman, but the rest of the cast is fantastic. The makeup, the production value, the costumes, the sets, this cartoony, beautiful, fabulous world, which is so reminiscent of classic 1920-1930 film. Please watch this film. Thank you so much for picking this, Christopher. You are amazing! I really enjoyed this film, and I can't recommend it enough. Perfect film for Christmas if you're in for a wacky, joyous, whimsical, witty ride. And there we go, that's my review. I'm sorry I rambled on so long, all of those things. Comment, like, and all of that malarkey, and I will see you guys all very soon. Bye guys.